Go ahead.
Good morning. This is Mrs. Lewis, and I am going to do a science lesson. Pretty much just read the book again to you. Hopefully tomorrow I will have the questions for you from the story. I've read some of this already to you guys. This one is called Life in Your Backyard. This is for science. So here you go, reading it again. In kindergarten you get this, and first graders you get this. Okay, remember how in the backyard we see a lot of other creatures and stuff? Well, they're everywhere. I'll start reading again. Are you used to seeing one or more of these animals? If you are, that's not surprising. They all strive in cities, suburbs, towns, and other places built and used by people. And they do so because they've learned to take advantage of the special opportunities that come with the territory. So we do have animals coming even in the cities, even in smaller towns and the suburbs. Yeah, they're all over, even in the woods. So that's where they can take advantage of the things that are there that they can have access to. So this is a gray squirrel. Gray squirrels don't mind having people around. In fact, they often prefer things that way. As omnivorous animals that eat a wide range of foods, their wild diet includes acorn, berries, tree buds, and insects. Bird seed, apples, and cookies are just a few of the items they add to their menu when they make themselves at home near people. Okay, so here's a raccoon. So we just talked about the gray squirrel, now the raccoon. Raccoons and crows, there's a crow, are two more bold and clever omnivores. Like squirrels, they learned that where there are people, there's bound to be food. You can't call a crow a picky eater, because scientists have found that these birds eat over 600 different foods. And we see a lot of them right now, at this time? You guys do? I do. I see a lot of crows. Anyway, let's see. There was some more for the raccoons right here. Raccoons make their rounds at night looking for anything from leftover dog food to fresh vegetables from the garden. Okay, and here's a sparrow. And let's see, the sparrow, let's talk about them. Both house sparrows and starlings prefer to live near people. They come not only for the food, but also for the shelter that human habitats offer. In the spring, you might find them building their nests under the roofs of houses. Both birds also nest in tree cavities and abandoned woodpecker holes, often driving away other species who use the same kind of nesting sites. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things you found out about today, and let's see what's on the next page. Oh, the tracks. Tracks and traces. Backyard wildlife isn't always easy to spot. Some animals are shy and cautious as they move about. Some stay hidden much of the time. Some are tiny. If you look carefully, though, you might find clues about the whereabouts and activities of these secretive creatures. Snow-covered yards or fields are logical places to look for animal tracks. Some are the muddy edges of streams and rivers. You may not always be able to tell exactly whose trail you're on, but you can put certain pieces of the puzzle together by observing closely. Are the animals' feet tiny, small, medium, or large? Does it seem to walk, to run, or to hop? Does the trail begin or end at the base of a tree? These tracks were made by an opossum, I can't even say that, mammal that is active at night. A possum. Okay, now here, holes of various sizes might prove to the work of burrowing animals. Animals that dig and take shelter underground. Chipmunks, woodchucks, and skunks often burrow in backyards and nearby woodlands. This neatly dug little hole belongs to a chipmunk. And remember, boys and girls, you read that story about all these different animals where they live, remember? It was about home for animals and for people. And one of them was the rabbit. You said the rabbit lives in a burrow. That's what you guys read and knew about. So there it is. It's a hole in the ground that other animals live in. Animals that eat the nuts inside acorns or pine cones often leave behind little scrap heaps known as midden piles. A midden pile might be a sign of gray squirrels, but it's even more likely to be a sign of harder to spot species such as red squirrels or flying squirrels. This pile of pine cone scales is the work of a red squirrel. Now this one looks like a leaf, right? What's going on here? These squiggly lines were made by tiny insects known as leaf miners. The leaf miners are actually the larvae or young of certain species of moths, beetles, and flies. They find both food and protection as they tunnel their way through the insides of leaves. That's interesting. That's something I'm even learning myself. Look at all these different things that we read. It's good for kindergarten and first graders. You'll know a lot. So let's take one more page, okay? Many species of web-building spiders stay out of sight, but they're usually not far from their webs. The purpose of any spider web, including this funnel-shaped web made by a grass spider, is to trap insects. So webs are a sure sign that there are insects around as well. So right now I'll go back to the beginning and you can look at all the stuff that we have read about, and probably don't need my pointer right now. So this is life in your backyard. If you guys took a look at your tablet, this was where I started. See, this one is a song that a sparrow is singing. The sparrow is singing a song right there. See that one? Remember that one? And then this one is about our backyards, what we can find in our backyards. And there were things that some of them lived in, kind of like the plants that we built. There's a turtle, remember that one? The plants that we planted is what I was going to say. And then there's food for them in our yards, because some yards are kept really nice that even the worms get to be there and eat up the dirt. Remember that one? And this one here, this one was a, let's see, kind of like a praying mantis, something like that. And so the living things that share our environment. So this is a little scientist boy, I guess, looking at all the animals right there, or insects or whatever. And then some more insects, and the bee or the wasp, they go for the flowers because there's pollen in there. Remember that one? And the backyard birds. There's woodpeckers. There's a robin. And there's some birds that spend time on the ground a lot to find things to eat, like sparrows and cardinals. And there's more pictures of it. Look at the pine cone. Finding stuff in even a pine cone. Have you made one of those where you put stuff in a pine cone, glue them on there or something, and put them outside? And birds can get to that too. Feeding the wild. Okay, we saw this one, blue jays and cardinals. And this one's called a black cape chickadee, a chickadee. Okay, sometimes I usually name my students I forgot what last year's are, but one time I used to call them my little chickadees. I guess that's how a chickadee would look. See that? Okay. And today, this one is for today, all these different animals and birds that come around into our backyard. And the tracks. Remember the tracks that we can find and kind of figure out what kind of animal made them, and just the places where they live and leaving stuff and being on the leaf. So those are the things, and I guess we can welcome wildlife starting tomorrow, but after I read this tomorrow to you guys, then you will have some questions that you could answer, and I'll write them up for you, but I'll also read them, and then you can also get it on a paper, on your tablet, and they can be answered too. So this is for science, and that's what I have for today. I know it's all